But for more on this, let's bring in Poumpouras, former U.S. Secret Service special agent. Always good to see you. The money that's being offered for confirmed sightings of these justices by this advocacy group, is that even legal?
So here's the thing. Can you do that? You can. The issue becomes now, is it stalking? Is it harassment? Can you get those individuals on those types of charges? So if we see this theme of stalking individuals, of harassing them, as we saw in that statement that Morton's made, then there might be something there. That's really going to be the crux of the issue. If they're peaceably protesting, which they are allowed, then that is different. You know, when we protected the president of the United States, wherever he went, we always knew there would be protesters. It was a given. But here in this scenario, we're seeing something very different. But I want to say something that I think is really quite critical. And it was part of the clip that you played earlier with the president of the United States telling people to go out there and protest, which is fine. But I think what's really, really important here is for any public officials, to include the president, to make sure that they say peaceably, to make sure that they enforce that. Because when you don't do that, when you are not clear, it gives the public the authority to feel that they can do this. And we want to have a balance. Okay, we want to make sure everybody's on the same page. We're not encouraging people to harass, to stalk. You know, again, there's a lot of other individuals out there who have ill intentions, as the individual that was mentioned, who had zip ties, who was looking to go after Judge Kavanaugh. We really need to think from a security standpoint what we're doing. And then now we are allocating a huge amount of resources. Think about the cost, the resources to start protecting the justices. Something new, something we've never thought of before.
I have to ask you about what the difference is almost between the security strategy for someone who is obviously going to have protesters who are outraged and somebody who could be the victim of a stalker or worse. Because we know the man who was arrested outside of Justice Kavanaugh's home, he was charged with attempts to kidnap or murder that justice. We just want to remind people of that. He turned himself into 911 dispatchers. But then you have this group that's offering $250, up to $250, for the location of any conservative justices. Not all justices, just specifically conservative justices. What is the difference between a Secret Service agent, having that information and not? Because clearly this is heating up in a way that could be very dangerous.
You know, from a security standpoint, it's terrible all the way around, just to be clear. Like, this is, you don't want an organization saying, hey, tweet this out because we want everybody to show up, right? You're inviting problems. You are. Now, can they do that? There is no law really precluding it unless their actions are causing true harassment, true distress, true harm. The moment you see that, you can maybe perhaps do something. I'd also be curious to find out who is funding this. Where are they getting the $250 to pay all these individuals? So I would start digging a bit into the actual cause, into who's behind it, into what they're doing. And look, protests have been happening for a while. This is just a really innovative way to do it.
But money, I mean, innovative, I don't know. Appealing to people's greed. I don't know if that's innovative. I just know that if somebody is harassed to the point where they have to exit the back door of a restaurant, whether you agree with them or not, I mean, again, I don't know. Is that harassment? If somebody is shouting you down while you're having a steak, is that harassment or is that just inconvenient?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but here's the difference. They're public figures, and this is where it becomes different. It's the same thing when we protected the president, the vice president, chiefs of staff, heads of staff, Secretary of State, Secretary of Homeland Security. Wherever these people would go, they would attract individuals who had unhealthy interests toward them, wanted to cause them harm. Now, you're just going to have to shift those same assets and resources towards SCOTUS. No, if you're looking at it from an individual level, of course, it's not right. You want to sit down and have your meal. The difference is they're public figures. And the difference is other public figures, to include the president, whose clip you just played, said go out there and protest. So you have to have one, first of all, narratives, not giving people the boldness, the brazenness to do this, to think that it's okay to harass. Number one, everybody has to be on the same narrative. Right. And then number two, understanding what their intentions are. So it is very dangerous because you are going to incite people to cause harm, people to take out on the justices or other public figures. And this type of thing, one of the issues is copycats. This type of thing spreads.
Right.
So
No,
this is going to
absolutely.
start here, and it's going to
snowball. I think that's the
snowball
concern.
into other areas.
Peaceful protest is different than the intent to cause harm. Or to, track people in this way, offering cash. We'll find out if that, again, crosses the line. Evie Poumpouras, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.